Good morning, Vince. It's nice to talk with you again today. Before I talk about anything else, I would like to clear something up real quick. I don't have any expectation that you and I are going to make one vlog every week. I just kind of set that as a little goal, and I think I'm probably not going to be able to do it either. The main one I'm doing this one right now is because Genevieve works one Saturday a month, and so I have the time right now. Today I'm going to share some scattered thoughts about how Wisconsin has been. So the big thing people have been telling me about and living in Wisconsin now is the weather. Literally everyone I think I have talked to has mentioned, oh, the winter is going to be really bad. And it's true, I haven't experienced it yet, but yeah, I am struggling to believe that it's really going to be that much different than like Indiana or Ohio. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I have been preparing though. I bought some new winter pants so that way Genevieve and I can hike. And check this out, they're fleece lined. They're very warm. I've never owned fleece lined pants before, but they're like super warm. Highly would recommend them for winter. Genevieve and I have been going to a lot of parks on the weekend just to hike and walk around. I've been really surprised by how nice the beaches are. Vince, you and I have experienced what's called like a Midwest beach, where it's just kind of like dirt. And they're the worst. They're objectively the worst things I've ever seen. But really surprisingly, the beaches and the lakes that we've been to here so far, they've had like actual sand. I don't know why, but I love it. We also live directly next to some like 30-mile trail. It's kind of like the Monon, but I think it's a little more in nature. So far I've been really enjoying it. Genevieve and I walk there about once or twice a day. I've really been surprised by the food here. As we live in Wisconsin, there is a lot of dairy around. We have these milk jugs that we receive. They're actual glass. It's made by local farmers, which is really cool. And the part that I really like though is that you can return the bottle to the grocery store. And I'm pretty on board with being renewable. There's also a local dairy chain here called Roundy's. They make eggs and milk. Eggs aren't dairy, and I immediately mentioned them first. There's a farmers association called Roundy's. They sell eggs, milk, and cheese here, which for some reason means that like eggs are super cheap. They also sell these like giant bags of cheese. We bought one the first weekend, and I was super excited when we bought it because I was like, oh my gosh, this is Wisconsin cheese. This is gonna be so much better than any other cheese I've ever had in my entire life. But then on the drive home, the cynicism in my brain kicked in and was like, this is still a bag of shredded cheese, what were you thinking? But no, the cynicism in my brain was totally wrong. That shredded cheese is way better than shredded cheese in Indiana. 5 out of 5 stars. Because of the Packers, football's a really big deal here in Wisconsin. It's a pretty commonly known fact that the Green Bay Packers are owned by the fans, but did you know that they're actually the only team in the NFL that is like a non-for-profit? Once they got added to the NFL made a rule saying that no other teams could be non-for-profits. How else are rich old people gonna make money in this world if they can't own teams? Finding community here in Wisconsin has been really hard for us. And I know in a large part that is because we are in the middle of a pandemic and we just moved here and we don't really know anyone. But it has been a little lonely and it has been a little frustrating at times to feel like we don't necessarily have people in this state yet. We joined a small group with a church here in our area, and that's been really cool to go to, and we've really enjoyed getting to learn more about those people and to be with them. But we haven't yet really had a lot of opportunities to hang out with those people. I've been finding myself thinking a lot about community in this season, and I am super blessed to have so many people from the past few years of my life who continue to connect with me and reach out with me and hang out with me. But I know that finding community here is going to be really important for both Genevieve and myself going forward. And I know that being in the middle of a pandemic, that it is not my fault that we haven't found community, and that it takes time, especially now being a working adult, to make friends and to form those kind of friendships and bonds. And I think in general, in this season, it's been hard for me to not blame myself for how things have changed due to COVID. Genevieve and I have these 2 pumpkins on our counter, and while it's clear we should be throwing one of them away, They've served to me as a bit of a reminder. We bought both of those pumpkins at the exact same time at the exact same grocery store, and yet one of them is totally fine and the other is completely rotting.
They have spent their lives right next to each other, but yet wound up in different places, and that's not because of anything that they did or anything that they are.
I think these two pumpkins have reminded me that I'm not always in control, and that things happen regardless of what I do. So in the midst of this COVID season, where it's hard to make friends and it's hard to do new things, I've been trying to take comfort in knowing that that's okay and that this is out of my control. So Vince, I love you, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Drive fast, take risks. This is a completely random thought that I meant to share, but then I totally forgot to. You probably know the song Truth Hurts by Lizzo, and it has the line, "New man on the Minnesota Vikings." Here in Wisconsin, because we hate the Minnesota Vikings, that line gets bleeped out. It goes, "New man in the..." And that is fantastic. Vince, that's officially everything I have to tell you today. Love you, man.